You're watching the Biker Protocol channel. Mwah.
Hi, I'm Picasso with the Eagle Riders MC here in Las Vegas. I'm here with,
I am Hollywood with Black Patch MC here in Las Vegas.
and welcome to the Biker Protocol channel. Today we have an interesting video. It's things to know about starting an MC. So we did another video about why not to start an MC, and that was kind of a hot topic video. If you're interested and you really want to start an MC, we want to do a video on kind of a starting point for understanding where you're going to be doing this from and how to do it and some other things because we've been seeing a lot of clubs popping up, and I know a lot of 1% clubs are not particularly happy about that, but it is what it is. And
Yeah.
a lot of clubs in general, really. But if you're going to start one and maybe your area doesn't have one already and you're looking at starting an MC, we want to go over a few things that you can do to start an MC. So I'll let you start this one off.
So first you should gather a few friends and buddies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's number
That's-
one.
that's
You
always
you
good.
can't start an MC with one person. I've actually seen that happen, and
Really?
it doesn't last, of
No,
course.
of course not.
But that's the first thing. We've talked about it. Like I said, like Robert's rule of law. Look that up. It talks
Is it
about
rules of law,
ru-
law or
uh,
order.
one of those.
One of those. I'll put the
yeah.
graphic up. Yeah.
But that details on like how many positions you need and that so
Mhm.
forth. And that's kind of the starting point. Traditionally, you kind of start as a riding club.
Mhm.
You just get together, ride. You start to get your organization in check.
Yeah.
And through that process of getting out there and meeting people, you eventually grow to become an MC. And I think a lot of people might actually say RCs are meant to be absorbed by MCs that already exist,
Right.
which isn't wrong either. And but as the times we live in now with
Well, and-
million, like
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
million, clubs popping up, it's kind of not the way it is anymore. And unfortunately, it's not enforced, nor I guess should it be enforced. Legal mumbo jumbo there, but that's kind of the way it goes, I guess.
Well, and a lot of times too is that if you're an RC that's looking to become an MC,
Mhm.
and we're going to get into this list in a second, you start going to the 1% clubs for permission. A lot of
Yeah.
times they might even say, "Hey, listen, why don't we just make you a support club?"
Yeah, that will
And-
be the first start of it. I
Right,
think.
and that's fine for some people if that's okay with you. For a lot of people, it's not.
Mhm.
There's a wide variety of reasons for that. We'll do a video on that, like why you should or shouldn't become a support club. But that might be one way that you're going to get approached a little bit on this. But it's always best to start as an RC. I rarely see success. I don't think I've ever seen success with a group that just starts as an MC
Mhm.
without having any background in club culture, without having anything like that. It almost never works out for a wide variety of reasons, many of which are on this list. So
Yeah, definitely.
but yeah, definitely if you're looking at really becoming an MC and you think that might be a lifestyle that you're interested in, start as an RC first and don't be an RC for like a couple of months. This is something that you should be thinking out very, very long term because it's a major, major commitment. And so if you're going to do this, start as an RC and plan on being an RC for at least a year.
Yeah, and I'll interject even before RC. Like if you're continuing to go down that path of MC, of course, look to see if there's any clubs that already
Mhm.
fulfill
Absolutely.
the wants and needs of being an MC that you want or need.
Yeah.
And try checking them out and see if they would like to have you.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And I will share with you the number one reason I think people start an MC versus join one is they just don't like, I'm 48 years old. I've been through life. I know
That's
my
true.
stuff and I don't think I need to prospect a club. You're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. We've had prospects in our club that were way older than me.
Oh yeah.
It's just part of the process and it's an important process to learn.
And going back to that beginning
Yeah.
part, like the people that start a club with one member because they don't want to prospect,
Right.
that's why they're no longer clubs because it's a whole other topic. But quickly, the prospecting period gives you a sense of appreciation, I
Mhm.
guess.
You learn the respect, you
Yeah.
learn the protocols, you learn a lot of intricacies about being in an MC that a lot of times you can't even watch from channels like ours,
Yeah.
quite frankly. There's a lot of details in that, but generally the good starting point, start as an RC first.
Yeah, exactly. Get your ish your together, beforehand.
Yeah, get your crap together. And then this leads us to the second thing, which is make sure you really, really understand the difference between an MC and an RC because there is a big difference on this. Know the difference between an MC and an RC. There is a lot of differences and they're not subtle at all. understand the differentiations, the history, what makes an MC and MC and RC and RC. Understand these things.
Mhm.
We've done videos on this, but
Yeah.
but make sure you understand the difference between the two because you'll be checked on this. You will be. So yeah, at some point somebody's going to put you in check on that.
And so now you've decided you want to be have an MC. So let's say you're doing it the right way. You start as an RC. You're gonna have to start basically creating your branding. Essentially,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'd say one of the number one things that stands out in any club is your patch.
Right.
So you're gonna want to design a patch, and we're not talking clip art we stole from Google.
We've seen that
Yeah.
happen actually. Yeah.
And it will be checked. You
Yeah.
will be called out, and that could be the make it or break it on if you're able to continue. Because we're not saying people muscle up on other people, but when the whole community in your area says we're not accepting this, good luck trying it because they're just not going to attend your
Right.
events. They're not going to attend your rides. They won't welcome you to your events or their events or their rides.
So do not underestimate the intelligence of other people in other clubs. That I
Exactly.
really truly and this gets to what you're saying. So we've seen this happen. We saw a club and actually recently just became an MC. I don't want to single him out by name, but good bunch of
Definitely.
guys, right? But they started off doing it the wrong way. They had a patch which they stole from a clip art from other things, put it together, and it was really obviously like badly done. And they started they wanted to originally join as an MC, start as an MC. The clubs in the community said absolutely no way. So they started as an RC, but they were told, here's how you have to do your patch. And so, have it, if you're going to do a patch, first of all, don't make your patch. That's, I guess, when you design your patch, don't make your patch. Have it written out, your logo, your text, your font, the graphic that you're going to use, have that designed. And don't, like I said, don't use clip art, don't
Yeah.
use AI, have a designer do it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? It makes it more personal. It makes it more human. Doesn't look like you just threw something together. But when you make your patch, draw it out on a piece of paper, have a really good sketch of it. And that's what you're going to take when you go to present to 1% clubs. You're going to say, this is what we're looking at doing as our design. If you already have patches made, they're already going to be looking down on you for that.
Yeah.
And that's a big red flag.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it also kind of goes to that also the legal aspect of as you progress, you become an MC. If you have someone else's copyrighted material,
Oh, yeah.
what happens when someone finds that and you become, say, a bigger club and they're like, wait, that's my
Seen that before
image,
too. Yeah.
and then you have legal action
actually
coming
have seen
against you. So
And especially research. I know this is sounds trivial to some people, but it's not. Research colors.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
like we
We
have
just
we
talked
have
about it, yeah.
actually seen. I'm not kidding. I've seen clubs do red and white before.
Yeah.
They just don't think it through, right?
Mhm.
Or other things like that. But just research this because it may not be even like a club you're aware of. Research this a lot. There are some clubs that are very regional in the West Coast, East Coast, Northwest, whatever that fly certain colors that you're not aware of. But your 1%
And
club
then-
will be. They'll know.
Yeah, and then if say there's those colors don't exist in your area, but what happens if you decide to go to East Coast or whatever or Midwest, and all of a sudden you run into someone?
Yeah.
that's an issue,
Right.
But don't reinvent the wheel either. Like
No. I
it's
mean,
supposed to
the reality is there's only so many colors.
yeah
to choose.
represent who you are, what you stand for, and put heart into it, I guess.
Right.
So beyond that, we would say you've got your, let's say you've gone through the process. You went to your COC, your local clubs, 1%ers, whoever, and showing them what you want to do, what you're going for.
Well, let's rewind this for 1 second.
Yeah.
So I think really truly once you've kind of got, let's look at this in an order situation, right? So you've come up with a name, you've
Yeah.
maybe written up bylaws, you already know what your officers are going to be. So have kind of a structure set up before you ever do anything, and then the next step is going to be you have to go present to 1%. So if you don't know who the 1% clubs in your area, that's usually a red flag that maybe you shouldn't be an MC to begin with. But once you find out who your 1% clubs are, you have to go present to them
Yeah,
and get permissions. I usually recommend at least the 3 dominant clubs in your area.
yeah,
But you should present to them and say, this is what we're looking at doing. This is our patch layout. And they're going to ask you a lot of questions. And a lot of those questions are going to be about these types of things. But yeah, they're going to ask, and they may ask you questions about the culture in the area. They may ask you questions about their club.
hmm
They want to make sure that you're not just a bunch of idiots that are,
Yeah.
I want to throw some patches on to be a club. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, we've seen it a lot. A lot of people do just do that, or even sometimes they go through a little bit of the process, but because they haven't gone to the certain people or groups and just had that conversation, they end up fizzling out because they don't understand in the end what it actually entails
Right.
of starting a club.
For sure. But be prepared, contact your local 1% clubs, and you're going to have to make a presentation.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
And it's usually your sergeant at arms is usually the one that's going to set that up.
And you're gonna want to when you choose your members, your initial officers, and this isn't to say those officers stay in those positions. Remember
Right.
that just because they start there does not mean they stay there.
Mhm.
But make sure they're strong because you're gonna have people asking you who are you, what do you guys stand for, and it's gonna be intimidating.
Yeah.
So you've got to have people that aren't just afraid to talk or that aren't afraid to talk and be what the club's supposed to be.
For sure.
So definitely want to have strong starting officers.
Well, and yeah, for sure. That's it really, really important, actually. I would say our next thing is, understand the culture of
Yeah,
MCs, but not off of like Sons of Anarchy. Please don't. That's not a point of reference for anything, right? So, but understand truly, reading about it. There's a lot of really good books out there on MC culture that
hmm
date back to the '60s. I mean, the old Hell's Angels book from Hunter S. Thompson's a good read, right? You want to have an interesting read on the Hell's Angels, experience, right? But start reading up on this stuff, become
yeah,
knowledgeable, understand really truly what the difference is. Really helps when you subscribe to channels like ours. It's going to give you a good backbone on that. So
good plug there.
yeah. Well, hey, right?
But it's true. And then you're gonna want to once you like I was saying earlier was you go through this process. Let's say you've now been indoctrinated into the club world, whether you're just now an RC and you haven't even gotten to become an MC yet. You do want to attend as much as you can. If you're looking to become an MC, you need to put your face out there
Oh yeah,
because that's a big part of it. The motorcycle club community is in a lot of ways kind of small, I think, because it takes one phone call to reach
a
each
lot of
host,
people. Yeah,
if it's needed. So the more you're seen, the more they'll take you seriously. The more they're willing to not vouch, but just know that yes, I've seen this person.
yeah.
They are doing it right, and
I
that's
always
it.
say whether you're an RC or an MC, whatever you're patching up to be, attend everything. I mean, really, truly attend everything. You should have, and if your whole club can't make it, that's fine. But at least one or two of your officers, and if you have a couple members in your club that are not officers, they should be attending every single thing in your community that is anything related to biker culture. Anything. It could be a pig roast. It could be a poker night. It could be a ride. It could be a charity event. It could be any number of things. But find out, from your area, talk to some clubs in your area, find out what they're doing, get on the list of, what everybody is doing, and attend everything and really, truly have your face known. So when it comes time for you to sit there and say, hey, listen, we're looking at patching up. We're an RC. We've been starting up for a little while. And even if you're an RC, you should be getting permissions too. That's, something.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
respect thing. I
it's a
think
respect thing.
honestly.
And it's not going to be looked down quite with the level of scrutiny as if you're starting an MC. But if you're starting an RC, yeah, you should be getting permissions as well.
Yeah,
But even if you're an RC and you get permissions and everybody's cool with the patch that you came up with as an RC, as an RC, you should be attending everything. And because what's going to wind up happening is that over time, everybody's going to get to know you, right? You're going to be shaking hands with the same people over and over and over again, and they just get to know your face. And then when it comes time, down the road, when it comes time down the road, you're looking at patching up as an MC. It's going to make the process move a lot easier because then you're not some outsider looking at just like as a pop up group
yeah.
to patch up. Right?
It's about getting the community to know you and you to know the community.
Right.
To make sure we've all heard the stories about whatever clubs that aren't who they're supposed to be and so forth. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty good framework, I think, for going into this.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a lot of videos previously on our channel
Mhm.
that talk about prospecting and RCs versus MCs, all sorts of stuff like that. So definitely check that out. But if you're looking to go that route, I mean, think first. Don't just jump head first.
Yeah. It's like Hollywood said, before you start making an MC, see if maybe there's an MC in your area that might
Yeah.
fit the bill for you, because everybody's always looking for new members and you might be surprised at how many clubs in your area might be perfect for you. But the one last thing I would probably leave with this video on is if you really are serious about making an MC and you think you're going to do this in less than a year, you're wrong. I mean, truly,
Yeah.
this is something that you need to plan on taking a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
And for a lot of reasons, the first of which is if you can manage an RC for a year and not have the whole thing implode and not have members leave and not have all kinds of drama and problems and everything like that, if you can do that and do that successfully, it'll make it a lot easier if you're ready to start moving into an MC. So before you start really thinking about, hey, we need to make an MC, start thinking, hey, we need to make an RC.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
also there's on that note, real quick, is there's stepping stones, obviously, for this. As you said, like it's not going to happen in a year. I've actually seen with our own club and other clubs, even if you get to the MC part and you're an MC, you've been around. I've been told and seen around the 5 year mark is another one of those.
Yeah.
Is it going to fail? It's just like a business in a way too.
Yeah.
Like businesses get to a certain point where it's like you either are over the hump or you're
It's
climbing
very
uphill all the
true.
time.
Yeah.
So it's a long term process, and it should be because you're going to invest your time, your energy, and try to create bonds with people that should be in your life your entire life.
Yeah, for sure. This isn't something to be taken lightly. It's something to be taken as very important because
Yeah,
basically you're making a family, right?
that's the
Um,
idea.
and so, this isn't just a bunch of, MCs are not about just a bunch of buddies who like to go on bikes
Yeah,
once in a while.
but
It's more than that.
and I'll again just to reiterate, check your area for other clubs that have that same
Yeah.
idea as you. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, as I've said, because there's probably a plenty of other clubs, even RCs to start out as support clubs,
Mhm.
whatever it may be. Look at that first because I think that's a good, and I think it's a good starting point too for if you decide to eventually do make your MC, because then other clubs see, oh, they did try, and it just didn't fit for them. So maybe we can have a little more leniency, or not leniency. We can just look at it a little differently
Yeah.
and not just instantly be like, nope, not doing it.
Right. No, it's all true. All true. If you have any other thoughts on this, if this is a generally kind of a general, but we think pretty comprehensive list. If you're looking at starting MC, this is kind of the starting point, right? So if you have any other input, if you've started an MC, maybe done some other things you thought might be beneficial to other people, please leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear it, and maybe we'll do another video on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'd love to hear what other inputs you have. But this is, I think, a good starting point. It's a good comprehensive list. And so if you're looking at starting MC, this is kind of a point of entry, so to speak. So
Yeah.
and if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to this video. You can just do that down below, click the notification bell, and that gets you subscriptions to our videos.
Mhm.
We come out every Friday. We also have new videos coming out every Wednesdays now too. So be on the lookout
We
for
hope.
that. So it's going to be kind of fun. So
Yeah.
Tales from the Road, I think we're calling it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So cool. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video. Oh, we got to do our shot. Hold
Yeah.
on. What are we drinking today? I think it's another vodka something. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
Cheers.
Rudy again.
Ugh. Not that bad, but
Yeah.
it's not that great. Okay.
It's getting better.
Getting better. Peace out, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Uh,